Relief is on the way for PSV owners. That's the top story we're tracking in your Barbados Today evening news. It's Wednesday, October 18th. Thanks for joining us. I'm Ryan Joltz. Minister of Transport and Works Michael Lashley has heard the cry of the operators of privately owned public service vehicles who've been pleading for a financial ease from the onerous National Social Responsibility Levy. Lashley told Barbados Today this afternoon that he's met recently with the operators and they were now working out their proposals for duty-free concessions and increased bus fares.
Whatever we can do at the ministry, we try to assist them because they're very important to the public transport system. We are currently looking at their duty-free proposal, and once we look at it, fashion it out, and look at the conditions to get duty-free, particularly in the PSV sector, and once that is acceptable to the Ministry of Finance and the Cabinet, then we will go about what I'm saying. We're looking at it at this moment. We're going to discuss it further with them. We're going to look at the conditions that would be required to meet that. Once it is acceptable to the entire Cabinet and to the Ministry of Finance, then we will go with it.
In other news, a St. Philip man is set to reappear in court on the 13th of November after being remanded to Her Majesty's prison at Dodds on a murder charge. He's Kenrick Dean David of Dodds Land Church Village. The 42-year-old is accused of killing 39-year-old Jeffrey Oliver of Rees Hill in St. James. According to lawmen, on August 17th, David was involved in an altercation with Oliver while at the Cheapside Market. Oliver was stabbed and taken to the Queen Elizabeth Hospital, where he succumbed to his injuries on September 30th. As all political parties here gear up for battle in the upcoming general election, incumbent Member of Parliament for St. James South, Donville Innes, says he's not bothered by the competition. Two ladies, the Barbados Labour Party's Sandra Husbands and the United Progressive Party's Crystal Austin, are going up against Innes. The outspoken minister, however, says he's not taking anything for granted, warning that the next poll will be challenging.
I am very mindful that I do have a significant challenge in St. James South. I'm not going to stand here and say to you that the re-election of myself as parliamentary representative of St. James South is going to be any walk in the park. I've never, upon entering active politics at this level in 2007, for one moment felt that there's room for complacency or that we can sit back, relax, and think you have it locked down. I did not do that in 2007 when I ran against Liz Thompson, who was seen as a very formidable candidate. I did not do it in 2013 when Ms. Sandra Husbands was my opponent, and I'm certainly not doing it in 2017 with two opponents, but I suspect there are more opponents to come from other parties. But I am going to run on my commitment to the people of St. James South. I'm going to run on my stewardship as a cabinet minister as well, and as a relatively young man who I believe still has a future in national development.
Innes said he believes the candidate to emerge winner in the next election will be based on a certain set of skills and commitment, and he won't be sidetracked. The confident Innes tells Barbados Today he will continue to focus on areas of concern for his constituents as he seeks to retain his seat for a third straight term.
I am committed to the cause. I came out of the private sector into public affairs because I believe that I had a contribution to make. I think I still have a contribution to make. I'm not being distracted or detracted by opponents who usually engage in some very salacious things. You know, it would not be an easy campaign. I've never had a decent campaign in St. James South. It's always been one of mudslinging, accusations of nefarious activities, very nasty personal attacks on myself and my family. And I expect that such should continue. It's not my style.
The issue of adolescent health came to the fore today at a two-day workshop at the Accra Beach Hotel. The Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Kenneth George, highlighted the findings of a 2015 report which showed that the leading causes of death among Barbadian youngsters included vehicular accidents, lower respiratory tract infections, drownings, and depressive disorders. George urged authorities to pay attention to the findings, stressing that the longevity of the island's youth is critical to Barbados achieving the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals.
In the region of the Americas, interpersonal violence is one of the leading causes of adolescent mortality. Adolescence is also a period where many risky behaviors start or are consolidated. These include promiscuous sexual behavior, tobacco smoking, substance abuse, which all have and can impact future adulthood. Even though Barbados does not currently have an adolescent strategy, there are various initiatives and activities which have been put in place.
Dr. George also noted that while Barbados had a number of measures to tackle adolescent health issues, it was critical that young people should be involved.
Too frequently, society blames the youth without fully engaging them and involving them in their solutions to their problems. Therefore, a forum for true engagement that will meet the youth in their homes, schools, and communities where they live is critical.
Let's take in a bit of sports now. It's time again for the Rugby Barbados World Sevens Championship. The games are all set for December 9th and 10th. Last year was the first time Barbados hosted a two-day tourney as part of the Barbados Olympic Association's Independence Invitational Games tournament. Coordinator is George Nicholson. He says 18 teams comprising 10 men and 8 women have so far registered and will be competing for a $3,000 cash prize.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, touching one community at a time.
We turn to news from the region now. Each murder case in Trinidad and Tobago is costing taxpayers a whopping 1 to 10 million TT dollars. This is a revelation from the Prime Minister, Dr. Keith Rowley, who wants to see more action from the police force. In fact, he says the country must get value for money from the police service, and he wants authorities to take a serious look at the operations, even as far as the number of hours the police are rostered to work.
If most of our policemen are home at nights and the criminals are out on the street, we will never have enough policemen on the roster. On the other hand, if we're spending a large amount of money on overtime, but in fact not getting value for money on normal time, you will never spend enough money on the police service. I don't know if the average citizen understands that every murder case that's going through the courthouse costs taxpayers between $1 and $10 million. So if we eliminate it, that is money saved.
On the international front, Malta's Prime Minister Joseph Muscat says he was flabbergasted on hearing the news that journalist Daphne Galizia was killed in a car bomb. The 53-year-old died in an explosion shortly after leaving her home on Monday. She was known for her blog accusing top politicians of corruption. Her son Matthew has denounced what he called the country's mafia state.
She was a very harsh critic of mine, maybe the harshest I ever had. For the past 20 years or so, since I was a journalist myself. She actually once sued me because of a book I wrote. But, you know, I couldn't get myself to understand that this had happened, not only to her, but this had happened to our country. So it was a state of shock, of disbelief, it is a nightmare.
And that's the news. There's more on our website at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, and like us on Facebook. We're also on Izumi Media in bus terminals and Screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. Or you can tune in to Mix 96.9 FM for more news. I'm Ryan Jilts. Have a good evening.